Hello everybody, Nick McDonald speaking. Welcome to ICE Commentary this week for the US equity markets. Starting here with the Russell and looking at the daily chart. Here we were last week, and I said I don't think that this kind of 715 region would give too much resistance, although there was a little bit of forming. Sure enough, we broke right up through it, one pullback to it, and then came right up into this line here. We've got a resistance drawn. So pretty much a level, a week which worked like clockwork, and this level here, which has been drawn on the charts for many weeks, the line hasn't moved, came up, touched it, and we've just fallen off it ever so slightly. So really nice week in terms of the analysis, but now the next question is, of course, where does this go next? So I've been long-term bullish for quite some time. It's started to come together now. But then the question is, after such a big move up, and we had this big move up in just one day here on Thursday. After such a big move up and coming up to resistance, what happens next? We're also quite some way away from the averages. Now we've got a big green candle followed by a small red candle, which is often a very good sign of a pullback. So looking purely at the Russell there and looking just at the daily chart, it certainly looks like it's due a pullback, and it could be a pullback quite far back, even back down as far as 715. I don't think it'll pull back quite that far, but it's certainly on the cards that it could. Let's however look at a few of the other time frames, and then look at a few of the other index markets and see how this all ties together and make a real plan for the week. So coming and looking at the weekly chart, certainly again we've got this resistance line. It's coming up, it's touching it, but it's nowhere near as overextended. We've had a few up weeks in a row. If we just zoom out and look at this in some perspective, when the weekly chart gets going, it's certainly got potential to move a lot further. And the Russell's had many periods after such pullbacks of many weeks in a row straight up. So certainly it's not out of the question for this to move a little bit further. Coming and looking at it on the monthly chart, well, this is fantastic because we're now moving into a new month. We've got a really big bullish monthly candle. Any break up through that candle is going to be looking very strong. In fact, if we just zoom out here, that's probably pretty much the most bullish monthly candle we've had in about the last 10 years on the Russell. That is pretty good considering how bad everything has been, how bad everything feels out there. This is a very bullish month, and that's a very positive sign, and a sign that potentially we're moving back into that trend that we were in through 2009, through 2010. Got a little bit out of kilter there and a little bit scared on the European banking crisis, but now looking like potentially moving back into that upwards trend. Let's just have a look at a few of the other markets here and look at how overextended they are and also where they are in terms of support and resistance. So looking at the Dow, we're obviously, we're broken right up through 12,000 and the next level is 12,500. So we've got a good few hundred points in the Dow before we get up to 12.5. There's some resistance there. After that, we're coming up to these old highs up around 12.7, 12.8. But for now, it looks certainly like there's nothing much stopping it running further. Of course, though, every trend has to pull back, and we've moved up. We're due a pullback in. 12,000 would be a great level for it to find some support. If it pulled back a bit further, it might pull back into its averages. But by that time, they should be starting to catch up anyway. The averages will be moving up as price moves up. So the Dow looks very bullish. Coming and looking at the S&P, this has actually got a little bit of resistance in the chart. So we've got 1300 here coming up. So 1300 is a good level. It's a big number. There's been some good support and resistance there in the past on a number of occasions, and we're quite close. But we're not quite there yet either, so we've still got a little bit of a move up to get up towards it. But once again, we've got these big candles and we're overextended from the averages. Lastly, let's just come and look at the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ as well is up at resistance, but it's right back up at these highs. So still the leader of the market, right back up at these highs. It will be very interesting now to see, does the NASDAQ break through and does it break to new highs? And if it does here, when I say new highs, I mean for the last couple of years or for this period that we're in here. So I don't mean all-time highs. If we zoom right out here, obviously the NASDAQ's made some much bigger highs back in 98 and 99. But will it break out to recent highs? Will it break out to well, it'll actually be about a 10-year high if it does break out through this level. That will be very bullish for the market. However, right now at this precise moment in time, it is at resistance. I think the NASDAQ will break it. I think it'll break it comfortably within the next couple of weeks. The question is, will it break it this week? Come back to the Russell and let's just put this into some perspective and decide as to which way I think these markets will go. I am long-term still very bullish. I think the markets are going higher. I think that we're going to finish the year higher than where we are now, and I think that next year is shaping up to be quite a bullish looking year. All major economic and political concerns aside, anything like that, as we've seen, major news can come in and can affect what the technicals are telling us. As that news is starting to shift away from our focus a little bit, however, as we're starting to see some some solutions to some of the situations out there, we're starting to see markets turn bullish again. So I think that we will be longer term bullish. Right now in the short term, though, I can't help but think that we're due a pullback. And this is a funny situation for me, though. I think we're due a pullback. I think the most likely scenario is we'll move down here. However, I wouldn't short it. The markets are too bullish to be shorting them. So this is my preferred option. I'd rather wait for a pullback to enter a new long position. So I think the markets will pull down. I wouldn't want to be holding any major long position at this level. If I was looking as a short-term trader, I wouldn't want to be holding a short-term trade because I think in the short term it could pull back. I'd rather wait for a short-term entry as it does pull back. So I'll be looking on the Russell for any pullback into around about 715, even a little bit higher. Coming in here and drawing some Fibonacci levels on these charts, we'll start to see where is a sensible level for price to pull back to. Let's go from its most recent leg up to this high, and you'll see this level of 715 is also not only previous resistance now, but it's right on that sweet spot of 50 to 62%. That's the kind of sensible, healthy pullback which gives good buying opportunities. It's also a support and resistance level, and it's also right in at that 10-period moving average, right in around its averages. So that's my preferred trading opportunity for this week. That's what I think will happen. I think we do a pullback. However, I also would not be surprised at all if we pushed up through that level, especially since the Dow and S&P have got a little bit further to move. That doesn't change anything for me. I'd be happy to just watch it move up a little bit. It'd be another sign of strength if we do break up through this kind of 768, 770 kind of level. But if we get up through there, fantastic. It shows the strength. I'd still be waiting for a pullback to get positioned on a move. Anybody that's a more aggressive trader might even want to consider coming right down to lower time frames, like a 15-minute chart here, and see here where the 15-minute chart trend started to move up, where the averages all fanned out. We were down here, we were bunched up, the averages fanned out, and we start to get these pullbacks into the averages. Those provide great opportunities on a shorter term basis. You'll see that we're bunched up here again now. If you're a more aggressive trader and you think markets were going higher, you could just do similar to that, wait till the averages start to fan out again, 10, 20, 50, 200, fanning upwards, and start to look for any reasons to buy pullbacks into this moving average buy zone. For now, though, I'm waiting for that pullback into the buy zone on a daily chart. I think that's the kind of move that is potentially coming here this week while remaining very, very bullish. Hope that helps everybody. Hope it makes sense, and I look forward to speaking to you on next week's update.